If you feel like you're always explaining yourself, always justifying, always trying to make them understand, pay attention. Because that's not communication, it's a game, and you only lose when you agree to play. Manipulative people rarely come at you head-on. They wear you down. They cross one small line, then another, and when you finally respond, they make it seem like the problem is your tone, your sensitivity, your way of speaking. Suddenly, you're not protecting your peace. You're defending your right to have peace, and the reason so many people don't set boundaries isn't a lack of courage. It's fear of losing someone. But there's an uncomfortable truth. The people who leave when you start respecting yourself often didn't love you. They loved access, they loved your availability, they loved the version of you that would bend to keep everything fine. Today, I'm going to show you 5 boundaries that completely change this game. Simple, usable boundaries that make control attempts obvious in the moment. And the 5th is the hardest, because it demands one thing manipulators don't expect from you, that you choose yourself, even if it costs you presence, approval, and comfort. Boundary 1. You don't explain yourself more than once. There's a difference between clarity and over-explaining. Clarity is respect. Over-explaining is surrender. When you explain something once, you're being direct. When you explain it a second time, you're being generous. When you explain it a third time, you're being managed. Manipulators feed on confusion. They pretend they didn't understand. They ask the same question in a slightly different way. They pick at your wording. They act like your boundary is a debate topic and you think if I just say it better, they'll finally accept it. They understood the first time. They just didn't like the answer. So your rule is simple. State it once, clearly, calmly, then stop. No, I'm not available for that. Pause. I'm not comfortable with that. Pause. That doesn't work for me. Pause. The pause is important because it removes the opening they're looking for. They want you to keep talking until you accidentally weaken your own boundary. They want you to add excuses they can attack. They want you to turn a decision into a negotiation. Epictetus had a line that fits perfectly here. If you want to be free, stop giving other people the power to decide what you should do. Every extra explanation is a small handover of that power. And here's the trap. Once someone learns you'll repeat yourself endlessly, they'll keep pushing until you crack. But when they learn your words don't come with endless follow-up, they either adapt or disappear. Boundary 2. You don't accept apologies without change. Some people apologize to reset the situation, not to repair it. They say, "I'm sorry," quickly. They say it often, and then nothing changes. Same disrespect, same pattern, same outcome. The apology becomes a tool, not a truth, a way to keep access to you without paying the price of growth. A real apology has a practical upgrade. Different actions, different patterns, different behavior. If the apology is real, it shows up in consistency. If it's manipulation, it shows up in repetition. So your boundary becomes this. You don't forgive repetition. You forgive improvement. You can even say it plainly. I hear your apology. What I need now is change. And notice what happens when you do that. A healthy person might feel uncomfortable, but they'll respect it. A manipulative person will try to make you feel cruel for asking. They'll call you unforgiving. They'll act like accountability is an attack. That reaction tells you everything. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to be impressed by words without character. Don't be moved by the performance. Watch the pattern. The pattern is the person. Boundary 3. You don't react immediately. Manipulators have one favorite weapon: urgency. They want you emotional. They want you rushed. They want you answering under pressure because pressured decisions usually benefit them. They provoke you, accuse you, guilt you, then demand a response right now. So here's one of the strongest boundaries you can set. You pause before responding. That pause breaks the spell. It gives your nervous system time to settle. It gives your mind time to see what's happening. It turns their pressure into something you can observe instead of something you must obey. Your line can be simple: I'll get back to you. It's calm, it's neutral, and it removes their control instantly. If they respect you, they'll accept it. If they're trying to control you, they'll punish the pause. They'll push harder. They'll say, "Why are you making this a big deal?" They'll try to force immediacy. But the Stoics were clear about this. You don't have to attend every emotional emergency someone creates. You always have the right to choose your response. And right here, If this is the kind of content that helps you protect your peace, subscribe to Stoic Spring. Not because you need more videos, but because you'll build the habit of guarding your inner calm and growing in maturity one day at a time. Boundary 4. You don't reward bad behavior with more effort. This is the slow trap that drains good people for years. When someone pulls away, you chase. When someone gives less, you give more. When someone withdraws affection, you try harder. But effort should be matched, not chased. Manipulators often reduce their effort on purpose, not because they're overwhelmed, but because they're testing you. They want to see how much you'll tolerate, how desperate you'll become, how quickly you'll abandon your own needs to keep them comfortable. So your new rule is simple. When they give less, you don't give more. You match. If they step back, you don't sprint forward. You stand still. If they communicate vaguely, you don't write paragraphs. You stay clear and brief. If they show up inconsistently, you stop building your life around their randomness. Because every time you reward disrespect with extra effort, you teach them a dangerous lesson. That disrespect works. And here's the hard part. Matching effort doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming honest. Honest about what the connection truly is, not what you wish it would be. Boundary 5. You don't stay where you're not valued. This is the ultimate boundary, and the one manipulators fear the most. Manipulators thrive on one belief: that you won't leave, that you're too loyal, too patient, too forgiving, too hopeful, that you'll keep tolerating crumbs because you remember the moments when it felt good. But the moment you become willing to walk away, their control evaporates. Not out of anger, out of self-respect. Leaving isn't losing. Leaving is choosing. You choose peace over chaos, respect over crumbs, self-worth over emotional debt. And once someone realizes you don't remain in places where you're undervalued, the games stop. Because the game only works when you're trapped by your own hope. Seneca warned about this in his own way. If you keep returning to what harms you, you're not being kind. You're being careless with your life. Your time and peace are not endless resources. So let this be your standard. You can love people and still leave situations that damage you. You can forgive and still create distance. You can be compassionate and still be unavailable to disrespect. People who manipulate you don't fear your kindness. They fear your boundaries. Kindness without boundaries becomes a weakness, but kindness with boundaries becomes strength. It becomes power. It becomes self-respect. So remember these 5. You don't explain yourself more than once. You don't accept apologies without change. You don't react immediately. You don't reward bad behavior with more effort. And you don't stay where you're not valued. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming clear. And clarity is the end of manipulation. If you want, comment the word clear so I know you're choosing self-respect over guilt. And subscribe to Stoic Spring, because the more you build the habit of protecting your inner peace and growing in maturity, the harder it becomes for anyone to pull you out of yourself.